This program was made possible by the grassroots volunteers of United Monroe.
Hello, I'm Emily Convert and welcome to this very special edition of Hello Hudson Valley. In this episode, we're going to be showing you highlights from our recent informational meeting, which focuses on the 507-acre annexation of land from Monroe into Curious Joel. And this informational session that you'll be watching, or pieces of anyway, we'll be talking about the different negative impacts of the annexation on the surrounding communities, and not just Monroe. If you live in Orange County, even if you live in Rockland County, this will affect you as well. So I hope you enjoy the show, and there will be many excellent speakers, Assemblyman Skoufis, Legislator Mike Anagnostakis, School Board President, and many other guests who spoke very eloquently on this very pressing issue in our region. Please be sure to check out our blog. We have a Blog Talk Radio program on blogtalkradio.com. It's called Stand Up Hudson Valley, and we air live every Sunday night at 7 p.m. We hope you'll tune in. Enjoy the show. Thanks.
United Monroe is a nonpartisan grassroots volunteer organization whose purpose is to support candidates who promote good government, create awareness and apply necessary pressure to government officials to stop disregarding the law for votes. Our objectives are accountability, transparency, and civility in government. We have a number of exciting efforts in production. We've got a public access television program called Hello Hudson Valley, which can be viewed on Channel 21 if you have cable vision. It airs on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. We're very proud of this production. Mark Miller films and edits, and I'm the host, and I have a different guest each month. Our next guest will be State Assemblyman James Skoufis. John Allegro and I have a weekly podcast on blogtalkradio.com, which is a website where we live stream a radio talk show program. We'll be airing our 11th episode this week.
It's airing right now.
It's airing right now.
Yeah. Anybody who's on Facebook, please tell your friends to tune in.
Tune in to our on blogtalkradio.com. It's called Stand Up Hudson Valley. And for more information on how to catch it, just check out our website, unitedmonroe.org. We'll be publishing another issue of the United Voice newspaper, which will go to every home in Monroe. Many of you have lived here for a lifetime. Some moved here to raise your kids, like me, but whatever the case, we all moved here or stayed here because it's a really nice place to live. It's rural yet convenient. It's pretty and the schools are really good. And what impressed me when I was house hunting here were the people. Even before I was a known person in town, people were always friendly, warm, and ready for a chat on the grocery line. When I first moved here, I knew that there was a Satmar village called Curious Joel. I welcomed the notion of a multicultural environment, and I didn't think twice about living amongst a vastly different culture from my own. I believe that we each have the ability to educate our friends and neighbors on these issues. The potential threat to our school district and the rural character of our community is worth fighting for. We elect village mayors and trustees to represent our wishes for our communities. Our zoning and planning should reflect those desires. We have a unique situation in Monroe. From an outsider, our frustration can be misconstrued as hate, when it clearly isn't that. Add to that the leaders of KJ in the town of Monroe perpetuating that myth to further their agenda, and you have sometimes sensationalist media capitalizing on it. There should really be no reluctance in getting involved at this point. If you're frustrated, if you see the injustices, if you feel that your way of life is being threatened, yes, threatened, then channel your energy into action. I wouldn't be doing this for 2 years if I felt there wasn't a chance to make a difference. Our action takes different forms. The first being education. We need to make it our personal responsibility to educate our friends, neighbors, and acquaintances. When you run into your neighbor down the street at the grocery store, say, "Hey, did you hear about the latest on the annexation?" Then tell them to make sure to vote for United Monroe candidates, because the days of partisan politics have to be over. Second is litigation. We have to make sure that our coffer is always full and that we have the resources to pay our attorneys to protect our interests. Our town board isn't going to, and I know our school district will do whatever they can. Your involvement, no matter how small, is vital to our success in preventing more unsustainable growth in our region. All we ask is that the laws are followed and the zoning is respected. The KJPE have shown a total disregard for zoning environmental law and have slapped the good people of Monroe in the face with their verbal assaults. This is why we've been advised that we have a strong legal argument to prevent this annexation. The nonprofit corporation, Preserve Hudson Valley, was created in order to take on the litigation front to prevent unsustainable growth, and also, in addition to the obvious environmental side to this nonprofit, in our articles of incorporation, our mission is also to advocate for the separation of church and state. As for this coming November, many of you realized that Dan Burke's seat is up, Councilman Dan Burke's seat. We need to win that seat. We will. Dennis McWaters, since he's filling a vacancy, will also have to run again. So, yes. So United Monroe will be running 2 candidates this coming November.
I'm the Monroe Woodbury School District Board of Education President. Interim Superintendent Elsie Rodriguez is here and will have a few words to say. We are here because this is an important issue that concerns both the community and the school district. You might say that the school district helps define the community, any community, and the community helps define the school district. So the community say what the school district is not. To clarify a few things. We are not a political body, not a legislature, nor an executive branch of government. We are not a political action committee, and we are limited by law to our actions. That being said, we will always do as much as we can to provide the best possible education for the children in this district. Anything that potentially impacts this is something that involves us and will get our full attention. We are a very interested party to this potential action of annexation, and though we cannot politically advocate, we can intelligently respond to any actions, such as the seeker process or other initiatives that may impact our school district.
I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. I'm Elsie Rodriguez, I'm the interim superintendent, but I should qualify that by saying I've been in the district for 14 years. I love this district. I think the quality of education that we provide our children is excellent, and I would not want that to change at all. So I want you to know. I just want to share with you some of the things that we have done. In December 2013, when the first petition was filed, we believed so much that we had a vested interest that we applied for lead agency. As you all know, that lead agency application was rejected. As a result of that, and Mr. Hubert spoke about it, we did have a committee, an annexation committee, with community members, board members, and district administrators. We have sort of been sitting, waiting to see what happened. But in the interim, we have been doing several things. One of the things that we have been doing is we are currently working on a report that would outline for us both the fiscal and the academic impact that that annexation would have on our school district. And I will share with you that it's somewhat difficult to get accurate data, but we are working on that piece. And as soon as we are done, we will be able to provide that for you. What exactly that impact means to us as a school district, because once something has a financial impact, it will have an academic impact as well. The second thing that you should know is that our attorneys have taken a look at petitions 1 and 2, and they have stated that there are several deficiencies in those petitions, and they will be bringing forth those deficiencies. Some of the things that they have spoken about or have seen is that in these petitions there are inaccuracies. So names of people who may not exist are on these petitions, and so they are looking at that very carefully. And they have really been, again, what we are doing is we are working with our attorneys. It's not just the administration, it is our attorneys that take a fine look at all of the documentation, and we need that. The other piece that we are looking at is the secret process. So we want you to know, and I think that John reiterated this, that we are going to be monitoring. And what that seems like a simple word. What does monitoring mean? It means that every process, every bit of information that is put out there, we will continue to review with our attorneys. And they have been very helpful in this process. So throughout the secret review process, we will continue to monitor. And if there's something that we feel is not correct, we will raise those issues as well. And the last is that I know that there's a letter written for the DEC. We will be writing our own letter to the DEC and to the county executive, highlighting. Again, I've been here 14 years. We as a district will continue to fight to maintain the education that we have for our children, for our grandchildren, and our great-grandchildren. Thank you.
I'm so pleased to introduce State Assemblyman James Skoufis.
I literally just came from Albany straight here, and
condolences.
I'm very happy to be here. The past week and a half has not been an easy week at the State Assembly. I'm very happy to be back home and seeing friends. Before I'm not even on the agenda. I don't think expected, and I didn't know if I'd be here. Thanks to Emily, John, everyone in the executive committee. I think I know all of you, and you do amazing work. I mean, you don't get paid to do this, and you have taken it upon yourselves to try and preserve what we have here in Orange County and in Monroe, and you deserve our thanks.
Absolutely.
And I salute you. Monroe Woodbury, they're also amazing, and not just providing an excellent education, which I think every school district is tasked to do. They're successful. A lot of school districts are not successful. Monroe Woodbury is successful in doing that, but also being involved in issues like this that are paramount to the school district and the community at large. And they don't have to do this, but they are doing this. It's the right thing to do. And so thank all of you. Maybe I will be going off the reservation, who knows, but I'll talk, I guess, briefly about two separate but very related ideas, and that's, the political end of things, and then, the issues that we're dealing with. Actually, I'll do the issues first. I was on the Woodbury Town Board prior to being in the State Assembly, so I've dealt with a lot of these very same issues, the ones that are still going on years ago, the Curious Joel water pipeline. I see Steve Welly's here, and he deserves a lot of recognition. There's only three municipalities that have been standing up to all these issues in a formal capacity, at least. The town of Woodbury, the village of Woodbury, and the village of Harriman. And the village of Harriman has been working with the Woodburys on all of our lawsuits. And so the KJ pipeline issue, and there are a lot of issues with it, installing larger pipe than what the environmental review was studied for. They're installing 24 inches. The environmental review was for 18 inches of pipe. So that issue is still in court. Unfortunately, the appellate judge has been taking an extremely long time to review the appeal. I don't know what the holdup is, but and I'm not privy to those conversations on the town or village board level anymore. So I don't maybe have the latest, but it's been very frustrating to say the least. And these are all connected. The pipeline, the sewer treatment plant issue, which has now been in the news again recently, where the county is looking to either expand in Harriman or possibly find another plant in Orange County. And that's a county-owned plant in Harriman that we all pay into that are in that sewer district. And the only municipality that is growing with any kind of significance is Curious Joel. So everyone else is going to have to pay to expand that sewer treatment plant for literally one community that's growing and needs extra capacity. And of course, you know, the annexation, a lot of people don't realize, we in Woodbury, we had an annexation attempt back in 2012. The villager Curious Joel and a developer, Ziggy Brock, who many of you probably heard his name before, submitted a petition to annex a real, you know, compared to 500 plus acres, a relatively small amount of land, but nonetheless, you know, it was an annexation petition, and we were successful in Woodbury in beating that back. It did not happen, and so, you know, this can be done, is what I guess I'm trying to say. You know, this isn't some impossible task to try and beat back this annexation petition, or the two annexation petitions, I guess now, from KJ. And the difference is that in Woodbury's case, we had a town and village board that was willing to stand up for the community and do the right thing, and in Monroe, you don't. So, I mean, that's the biggest difference. So, and that's why it's critically important to continue supporting United Monroe, because when and if this does wind up in court, it's going to take a lot of resources to be able to continue the legal battles. There will probably be appeals regardless of who wins or loses, and that costs a lot of money to do. So I hope all of you continue to contribute and get your friends and neighbors to contribute, because that is absolutely critical. I hope and I expect come January 1st, you will have a majority on the Monroe Town Board, and you want to be able to control those. To be, you know, you're going to have a majority, I hope, on the Monroe Town Board, and you will, again, have destiny, you know, within your own hands in terms of an elected body. 2013, to be able to deliver 6,000 plus votes is an incredibly powerful, powerful thing. And I think since then, and especially since last year, United Monroe has really changed the political dynamic here in Orange County, where prior to United Monroe, you would have candidates that would just go into KJ and make promises or sell the farm or whatever it took to be able to get votes. And they can't just do that anymore. They just can't do that anymore, because if they do that and it's found out, they lose 6,000 plus votes on the other end in the town of Monroe. So it's at least in the back of every political candidate's mind when they're trying to get votes in the town of Monroe, that they can't just ignore everyone outside of KJ anymore. That's, you know, that's not democracy. That's, you know, political reality that you have now set here in Monroe, and that is a very, very powerful thing.
And the two big elephants in the room are, you know, water and sewer. And, you know, we know about the pipeline. The big argument about the pipeline, which could deliver, I think, 2.5 or 3 million gallons of water per day, is where is the water going to go? The Mountainville well is positioned to be a backup for the KJ water pipeline, which is going to tie into the New York City aqueduct. That has a potentiality to pump 500,000 gallons of water per day. The problem is it's pulling water out of valuable aquifers, and it would be sending that water down to Curious Joel and pumping that water into a sewage treatment plant, which would empty into the Ramapo River. Okay, that doesn't fit the environmental model of water out, water back into the aquifer. You're draining a resource and not replenishing it. That's a tremendous issue. It's a tremendous issue for the Ramapo. Dan Castricone is back there. He knows. He's told us so much about the stress already on the Ramapo River regarding salinity. KJ has been fined for dumping salt into from their poultry plant into the Harriman wastewater facility. The salt is damaging the Ramapo River. The heat of the discharge from the Harriman treatment plant is creating harm to the wildlife in the Ramapo River. The issues with with trees. Here are actually some of the benefits of trees. Number one, they cool the streets, and they cool the urban landscape. If you position trees properly around the buildings, you'll spend less money on electric to cool your home in the summer, and when the trees fall, you'll pay less for heat in the winter. Trees clean the air. They take carbon dioxide and they turn it into oxygen. And that's one of the reasons why you're here, beyond the schools and the economic impact, which Mike is going to get into. It's the environment. People who grow up, I asked who grew up in Long Island. There are probably a bunch of people here who grew up in the Bronx and Queens and other suburban, sprawler, urban type settings, and they really enjoyed the trails and the mountains and the ridge views here. And that's what we want to keep, and that's what the KJP guys don't care about. So we appreciate you all for being here and supporting this cause. And for me, it's a personal thank you because it is something that I care deeply about, the environment and nature. So thank you very much.
Now I'm pleased to introduce County Legislator Mike Anagnostakis.
Typically 30 days to force a referendum. But here's the white elephant. County law for creating districts is different for permissive referendum than other referendums. And here's what it says. Only those electors shall be qualified to sign a petition and to vote who are resident within an area included in the proposed county district, and provided further, so far we're okay. Only the people that are in the proposed district can vote, and provided further that the number of signatures required on the petition shall be 100 or 5% of the owners of the taxable property situated within the proposed district, whichever shall be less. So a threshold of 100 signatures would allow a referendum as to whether you want this sewer district expanded or not expanded. And if you start telling me that we're going to expand it by 3 million or 6 million or 12 million, and we're going to have a cost of 3 times or 4 times or 8 times your cost you're currently paying, I wonder how many people will be voting yes, that's what I want done in a permissive referendum, and how many will be voting no, I don't want that done. And that's how you sway the one elephant. So, the first step is that the legislature is the one that's eventually going to have to make that decision. And the votes are 11-9, 12-9. They're not far off. Once you start putting pressure on people to say, the legislature may say, we don't want this done at all. We're not going to expand the district. We're not going to put a plant down in New Windsor. But let's say you don't win that battle, then you've got the permissive referendum battle to wage that you can win. Unless the other side is cleverer than we are and does something up in Albany, because I know that the county executive has people working for him that are very, very astute with the policies and the procedures up in Albany. And unfortunately, sometimes they can actually change laws or have laws rewritten for an exception just for your county that will override what the law is. And if that occurs, I think there will be a revolt, an uprising in Orange County. But that's how I see the lay of the land. We have the ability to do things. We have the ability to work as elected officials together to solve the problems here. You guys have to continue fighting the way you have fought. You have to continue to stay united. You have to wake up and you have to figure out when politicians are BSing you and doing nothing and trying to make you think that they're on your side, and when they're really not doing anything and they're fighting against you. You're going to have to make those decisions yourself. When you see what the real answer is, you'll know how to proceed. You'll know how to win in the end. So, Emily, John, the rest of the board, God bless you for doing
Our next guest is Rabbi Loeb. Rabbi Loeb contacted me shortly after we began our outreach program in Curious Joel. It was really, our outreach program was a response to all of the rhetoric and some of the horrible literature that was being passed around in Curious Joel prior to elections during the year, really painting the people of Monroe as hateful, horrible people. And we wanted to combat that by getting literally boots on the ground in Curious Joel. I know there's a number of people here today who joined us in that effort. And we handed out flyers in Curious Joel explaining who we are, that we simply want good government, we want what's fair, we want everyone to be good neighbors and sit at the table and talk to one another. But unfortunately, the Curious Joel government doesn't allow that to happen, but that we don't have anything personally against the individual citizens, and that was what we intended to do by being there. And it had a tremendous impact, and people really responded to it and realized, wait a minute, these people are not hateful. They seem sincere. They want to talk to us. They want to have a conversation. And Rabbi Loeb reached out to me, and we've since had a number of conversations and shared some information, and I've shared with him our stance on things, and he was kind enough to join us this evening to say a few words. So.
Thank you very much. Hi dear friends and neighbors. I'm glad to be here to share with you the opinion of many people in the village of KJ. We as Jewish people, we are abiding to the Torah belief, and today in our times we are in a godly decreed exile since the destruction of the Second Temple. It's about 2,000 years ago. And the way of the Jewish people in the exile, according to the Torah, is to be very humble under the neighbors, under the governments, not to antagonize the neighbors, and to handle like a man with man, and not like the village of KJ does, unfortunately. So therefore, we want to let you know that there are many people, I can say hundreds of people, or maybe more. It's very hard to come out strongly, openly, to be vocal. It's very hard, but there are many people who are strongly opposed the way how the KJ village behaves with the neighbors. We feel it for a terrible way, especially when they call them for nothing. They call them anti-Semites, when they have logistic claims, and they call them anti-Semites. It's terrible. It's against the Torah. It's against humanity. We have to sit down and to talk together with the neighbors to see how things can be solved.
We hope you enjoyed those clips of the informational session, and please remember to visit our website, unitedmonroe.org, and check out our Blog Talk Radio program on Sunday nights on blogtalkradio.com called Stand Up Hudson Valley. Thanks for watching.